Make a joke about the little nose creature.
He's like he didn't even like ask to be in that conversation. He was like super nosy about it.
A Cedra, you did there.
Okay, Cody. All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast, where we usually review the first volume of a brand new manga each week, but we're back to Berserk, baby. Today we're covering volumes 25 through 27 of the Millennium Falcon arc. My name is Josh. I didn't think of it before we started recording. Josh Kelpie Michaels. And today, as always, I am joined by
Megan Nose Creature Perrine.
Okay, all right.
Cody Featherhands Decker.
Feather hands. Now, why do you say feather hands?
Well, because Serpico had feathers, and then something hands seems like a like a mobster name.
Keep your hands off me.
Yeah, birds of a feather.
Yeah, fight together.
Fight together. Yes.
Yeah.
And they flock.
And they definitely flock.
Oh, flock. Yeah.
And I hope you give a flock about today's episode because we are so excited to be coming back and talking about Berserk again. Like I said, volumes 25 through 27. This is the final part of the Holy Evil War arc, and there's a lot to talk about. Things are ramping up. I was very excited in our previous episode about Berserk, calling Berserk the greatest story ever told, and I stand by it. Before we get into our initial reactions or initial thoughts, we are having a Halloween live show. If you're watching this on Saturday, then that's going to be tomorrow.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky. It's going to be spooky. We're going to be in full cosplay, in full costume. We're going to be playing a role-playing game that is going to be written by none other than Spooky Megan Perrine. We're going to be doing a couple of challenges. We're going to be, just hanging out, having a good time on Halloween. And then if time permits, we might even be having a Discord Halloween party after the fact. So if you're watching this on Saturday, tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock where we will be going live on Halloween Day.
Woo! If you have nothing better to do.
And if you do have something better to do, cancel it.
Yeah, cancel it immediately. Cancel all the fun Halloween things you have planned
because this is going to be more fun.
Yeah, because we're going to be having fun.
And it'll be my last chance to watch Evil Dead 2 with them.
Oh, if we do it in the Discord party, that'd be fun.
Yes, because
last chance. I want to watch it.
I've asked like 10 times.
We did watch episode 1 of the TV show.
We did watch episode 1.
But
without any context of the previous.
I liked it.
One more thing I'd like to mention too is
you like the TV
thank
show?
you everybody who has been rating us and reviewing us on iTunes. Even if you don't listen on iTunes, just going over there and reviewing, leaving us a review helps us out a lot. But we are also now on Amazon Podcasts, Audible, and Amazon Music. So if you do listen to podcasts there, we are there. And if you don't and didn't even know that existed, well, now you know.
And we didn't know it existed either.
We didn't know, yeah. But we are on there, and that is going to do it for the housekeeping, for the announcements. Now, Berserk, we're back. We're cycling through Duns, and every time we come back around to Berserk, I get so excited. How did you guys feel about the 3 volumes that we are going to talk about today?
Again, just like, what is this manga? Like, it continues to exceed my expectations. It continues to push it in a new direction. I have no idea what's going to happen, especially on the volume we left off. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what could possibly happen? And we got a reveal that we finally have been waiting for with the armor that's been everywhere that I've been seeing. And I'm just like, it's a lot. It's amazing. That's all I can say.
Cody, we got more of your boy in these 3
I
volumes.
like how he shows up in every chunk we do. He's always there at least once.
But he played a really instrumental. The Skull Knight played a huge part in these 3 volumes.
And I like that now I'm caught up on the armor thing. Was the only thing that I knew existed that I haven't seen yet. But so now it's like, now I no longer have any idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. I talked about in the last episode how it was so nice to finally start to dive more into the magical and to get away from the war. And it goes even deeper in these 3 volumes. And so many comments on our previous video was people basically saying, like, if you think this is crazy or if you think this is good, like, it gets even better. And I can't even imagine, because with Shirke and like learning about how her magic works and just the magic system that is in the world of Berserk and how she has to basically travel through all of these ethereal realms is just, it's so fun to read.
Yeah,
I love it.
Every time it just feels like, oh yeah, like all that stuff happened before. It just feels like that was like a separate series.
It feels like there's two completely different parts, part 1 and part 2,
Yeah.
and maybe part 3, but yeah, they're almost two different stories. And it's so fun to see this new team. And Serpico has become, I mean,
Amazing.
don't come at me, but maybe my favorite character.
Yeah, I like him. That's why I was like kind of disappointed he didn't do anything in the previous episode
Yeah.
we did. But now I was like, oh, it just opens with him like doing all this stuff. I thought he was going to be a little more muscular.
I love that he's not.
He's a little lithe.
Yeah, a little live. A little, I like that word. Yeah. You know, we need representation for all kinds of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, he's
all
he's
kinds.
live.
He's live. Someone else you could call live too. I love Serpico. I mean, you know, and we've had so many people tell us, and specifically towards Megan, I think maybe you were not the harshest on Farnese, but you were in, I think, a couple episodes ago saying that you don't know how this character can ever be redeemable. That to you, she is just, you know, someone who is too far gone. And then in the last episode, you came around to her, too far niece gone. Then in the last episode, you were starting to come around to her. And I think, Cody, you were still on the fence about her.
No, I was starting to like her.
Oh, you were still
Yeah.
on the fence about her.
I'm still kind of
But man,
teetering.
I think she comes
a little bit.
around.
A little bit. I mean, she's getting better and better. Like she really is. I don't totally hate her now. And I think that she is learning to do shit by herself. So that's good. But I don't know. I like everyone else more than her at this point. That's how I feel.
My only issue is I'm just like, I figure she would have done more by now.
Well, here at the end of where we leave off is really when she, I imagine, is going to start to do more.
Because I'm like, I know she used to have a sword.
Yeah, now
They
she
didn't even let her. Yeah.
She is learning a lot about herself, though. And there was this really awesome parallel between her and a priest that happens kind of at the beginning of where we're going to start talking. But she's discovering herself. She's learning about herself. She's seeing people. She's seeing herself in other people, these like religious figures. And I'll say it. She's already completely like won me over.
Yeah. By the end of it, like I really just have to keep trying to remember how I felt when I first, until like this part of the story happened. Because it was like, that's a monster.
Me too. People in the comments, even way back then when we first met her, were like, "Oh, you're gonna love Farnese."
And I was like,
"Yeah,
shut
right."
Shut up. No way that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it took like 2 chapters of like focusing on her for me to be like, yeah, she's pretty cool.
And
she cut her hair.
She cut her hair, and then everything changed.
Serpico has always been cool.
Serpico was never not cool.
Yeah.
He just gets cooler and cooler.
You see him introduced, like that's a cool guy.
But there was like so many dynamic poses and panels of him just like putting in work, and I was like, this is my favorite character. I love Guts, but Serpico is just like, that's my guy.
Because he's also like a normal person too.
Yeah.
So because Guts is like, you know, what he does is superhuman. So Serpico is just that is like a guy was given like a magical weapon.
And I love that, speaking of Guts being superhuman, I love that we're getting, you know, information on like in universe as to why he is able to do all these things. Because I think, you know, most stories would just say he's the protagonist. That's why he can do all these things. But there are reasons.
There's a story where that's a real element of the world.
Where he's just the protagonist?
There's a, I guess it's a spoiler for the Wheel of Time. I don't know. But basically, you know, there's a cosmic way of going about it. But someone, not even like the manga, but someone finds out he's a main character, like in the cosmic scale. So he realizes he can just do things and like it'll always work out for him.
That's pretty cool.
So like on a meta level, he's like, I can, like he just jumps off a cliff and like he just lands on an exact spot. He's like, look, I can't be defeated.
It's kind of like a Bella from Twilight.
It's kind of exactly, Cody.
Right?
Cody. It's kind of exactly like Bella from
It's kind of
Twilight.
like a Bellet from Berserk.
Oh my God.
Loka.
Yeah! I wish we had air horns, dude. Holy crap, that was awesome. The one last thing I was like, Jenny, that's the greatest thing you've ever said. I'm like, wow, you can never achieve
I don't know.
humor at a higher level.
Definitely a bittersweet feeling. I was so excited to get back to, and like just how it's like, it is crazy how magic was not a focus in like the first part, you know, all the war stuff, and then like how magic is just like seamlessly become like the focal point.
Yeah.
Well, it's because like after the eclipse, all of them, all of it is like out on the open now. So that's like it's so cool to see all these like new creatures and like how it works to Shirke, like how she like
Shirky.
Sharky, how she just like knows like, oh, that's this, and like all the information that you're given to these things, it's like so cool.
Yeah.
And it's just building up more, and like I said, we'll get to it, but like the final volume, what is it, 27? Like what? The art is just like, what?
There were some, and we've talked about the art in almost every episode, but I mean, you just can't mention it. You can't not mention it. I mean,
it's just,
how is this done by one person?
I mean,
how is this? How Mira?
It's not humanly possible.
He has it, but I don't know what.
Yeah,
he's like,
he made a deal.
Yeah. I don't know what he did, but it's insanity.
I think this story, they say it goes on hiatus a lot, or it did go on hiatus. I don't know if it went on hiatus or if he just like took 6 months to write that chapter.
It would make sense
because there are just like posters in this, and
you literally have a panel.
I do.
Yeah, Josh has a panel frame, and like we finally got to like,
yeah.
I thought I missed that page.
Because I wanted to get one that like featured Guts and like a cool pose and like maybe some of the other characters. And so I found a pretty non-spoilery panel, but it was a panel that I hadn't read yet. And so getting to see it actually happen in the story now, I was like, oh, that's where that's from. That's cool.
And I like that this story has gone a roundabout way with magic and artifacts, but essentially having a werewolf.
Okay. In their own berserk way.
In a berserk,
berserky way.
In a berserky
way. As like someone who like, loves D&D and all that stuff too, like getting to see more monsters. I mean, this is like the monster manual. So, like the Kelpie, the ogres, and how for as much fantasy as I've read or watched, consumed, never have I seen any version of these types of fantasy creatures before. Kelpies, yes. Ogres, yes. But like not giants, yes. But not in this way. And so that is like was also like another layer of just like my enjoyment. It added so much to the story, getting to see these like really grotesque and fun twists on these like classic fantasy creatures.
I also like the balancing system in the party now, where it's like Shirky's the mage, but she needs casting time and she has like a cooldown period. So it's like they're fighting so until she can cast a spell, and then it like oh yeah, I've played a game like this.
Yeah, and her talking to everyone, that's so cool.
Yeah,
like walkie talkies. We got Shirky on our team.
We got
Shirky.
I called her Shirky.
Shirky Shockies.
Shirky Shockies.
I'm gonna cut that out. But yeah, dude, it's so fun to see their dynamic, and it's so
Struggler talkers.
No, keep working on it.
It's there. Something's
there. Come on, Megan, we're counting on you.
Shirky cups. No. Shirky cups on a line.
Shirky cups on a line.
Well, where did we find ourselves when we
last left off?
We left on a cliffhanger of like, oh man, Serpico has not done like any fighting lately.
And it was so frustrating where we left off because it was literally a panel where he is for the first time swinging his like fetish, his blade, his magic weapon.
Swinging his fetish.
Swinging his fetish. I love the way that
slanging
sounds.
His fetish.
He was slanging his fetish. And so, yeah, where this picked up action immediately and from one of my favorite characters. And just to see him fight the trolls, that's where we're beginning. And, we've talked about fights in the past when it comes to Berserk because it did feel formulaic when they were doing their wars. And I would say that in those episodes that it got repetitive and they were still fun, but I loved the moments between Guts and Casca and the Band of the Hawk and Griffith more than I cared about these like fights against these like generals.
Yeah,
there's only so many ways humans can fight each other with normal weapons.
Yes. Yeah. But now, against magical creatures, the fights are so amazing. Every moment of them is like captivating.
And like Serpico is still like figuring out like what it could, because it's not used like, it's not just a blade. You can also do this where they can do this. And the more faith he puts into it, the more they're able to help. So it's like, he's like leveling up as he's like fighting.
And I love how Cedro's like us in the, like as the reader, just like, yeah, like he's in the background, like, that's so cool. You didn't even touch him. Did you see that? Like, I was just like, I felt that in my soul. I was like, yes.
Yeah. And there was a really powerful parallel between Isidro and Guts, and I don't know if it was like necessarily. I'm sure Miura is or was, rest in peace to one of the greats. I'm just a master, but just something that Guts tells him to do is something that was asked of Guts at a very young age.
Yeah, what is it? It's you've been entrusted because you can be trusted.
Yeah,
I was
like wow.
Oh my God, this is freaking amazing. Like he needed that. Like he's back for me now. He was being a little brat. He's still kind of bratty, but it's understandable because he can't really do anything. And now he's like realizing like, oh, I have my own place. Like I am able to help the group in my own way, not in like Shirke's magical way or not in like Guts's crazy berserk way. Like he's learning how to become a warrior for his team.
And the only thing is like he has like a magical dagger with a sword, and then someone gives him like another sword later on. I'm like, I feel like the magical sword was.
But it's important for him to learn how to fight without magic.
Sure, it's also important to learn how to use the magic.
But he also just can't do it yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't have faith.
He doesn't have faith in himself. He doesn't have faith in himself.
And he needs the raging fire of desire.
He needs the raging fire of desire. Cody, where are you getting this from?
That's the most hack rhyme
in
the world.
Was.
Your ood is on point today.
Okay, there you
go. Serpico against the trolls. Amazing. He's learning how to use this new weapon, and Shirke and everybody and her fairy companion, elf companion, are just kind of impressed at how quickly he's able to pick it up and how fast he's able to adapt to this weapon, because he, I guess, believes in it completely.
Well,
he kind of solos the trolls for a bit.
For a long time.
Everyone's just like, wow, you're doing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. She says like the wind spirits or the air spirits really taking a liking to him. So I was like, okay, like that's interesting. We'll probably see more of that.
As I mentioned, the more faith he puts into them, the more they can like influence him, and the more they can do outside of just attack.
Yeah.
And so and the more he sees that, the more he's like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's taken him on for a long time by himself, what feels like a long time. And, because I wasn't quite sure exactly where everybody was when we left off, I was like, where the heck is Guts at?
I know, he was gone for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, did he just dip? Like, and then you see the cave, and then they're like, don't be Rash. And he's just like, Rash is my middle name.
Yeah, dude.
And he starts taking him out.
They're surrounded. I mean, the amount of trolls, that there's a massive horde of them. And so basically, while Serpico and Guts are handling all the trolls, like Isidro, Casca, Farnese, and Shirke are tasked with like getting all the villagers into the church, while Shirke can stand on top of it and cast a protection spell, basically.
These villagers are so fucking dumb.
Well, it's that priest that's a fucking idiot.
And they're all like, he's like, the priest, like one of them, they're like on the other side, and the priest on the other side, he's like, don't do it. And then they're like, come inside, and they're like, and it's like a back and forth of like, literally, you're gonna die.
Like, huh?
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like a dog. It's like,
yeah, they're like a dog.
Come here.
Because they can see like actual magic, which they talk about. Like,
they talk about so much.
Like that was like real magic, and they're still like, I don't know if we can trust these people.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, it's evil. It's like they did nothing but help you.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty frustrating. I am very happy where like that priest ended, because I think he's like the first person in the entirety of Berserk so far that's like come around.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just so stubborn and set in their ways that they'll end up becoming an apostle, or
eventually his face starts looking weird, and he's like, I'm a squid now.
Yeah. But so Farnese Farnese and Casca are like protecting Shirke, and Guts and Serpico are holding the line while she can cast, because there is a period of time where she has to be in this trance, and she can't concentrate or focus, or she's not even
coherent.
there.
Yeah, she's just like a body.
Yeah.
And she like goes out of body experience type of
it's like
thing.
an astral projection.
And she's on the top of the church, and she's just like letting it happen.
Not to bring in Dragon's Dogma too much, but because it's just based off Berserk. And like if you play a wizard class, the whole thing is it's just like you just have to sit there and like cast a spell, and while the rest of the party has to, because if you get hit, you like undoes the spell. So like that, like you usually just play as Fernie or Shirky.
Yeah.
And then the reason you have a stamina meter is because all that talking, you just run out of breath.
Oh, really?
Because you're just chanting for like 5 minutes, and you just go, okay. Yeah. And then you just sit there again. You just do that over and over.
This really made me want to play I already wanted to play it, but the Berserk game, like I really want to play it. Like that'd be so much fun, because all these characters are in it. And
Yeah,
it's
that
just
would
like
be
Guts,
fun.
you play as Guts. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's awesome.
That would be fun, but I found myself so many times during reading this wanting a good anime adaptation.
Oh, of course.
Like for this arc specifically, or these volumes specifically, I was like, to see this in action, to
A
see
bunch
this
of
animated.
times I went like, oh, I should watch.
Aw.
Yeah.
I should just watch the OP like 7 times like
Yeah,
I usually do and just pretend that's its own anime and just think in my mind what could have been.
Yeah, and just wish and hope that one day they'll try it again for a third time. But so yeah, she's up there. There's a casting time, and they're holding off all the trolls, and it gets to a point where the priest climbs up there and says like, "This has to stop," which makes no sense. I mean, I get it. Like, I like seeing a character like this because again, like. Growing up with a family that was like very religious, I feel like I know people like this who are just so stubborn and so set in their ways, and they're unwilling to hear anything or be moved by anything, which is why I like his arc, I guess. But yeah, he tries to stop her and says like, if no one's going to stop her, then I'm going to stop her, and tries to take her out. And this is where Farnese, like, I think for the first time in these volumes, realizes that she now isn't this like cowering, just helpless person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She steps in front of Casca to like help her, and she shocks herself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So many things are happening at the same time, but she's able to cast the spell, and then we learn how they cast it. She has to go into the astral plane or the astral realm. She has to go in there and find these, like, they look like they're gods, but or angels, but they're like elemental spirits. Like one looked like a fire elemental, wind, yada yada yada.
Okay. Last time I'll mention something with Stop Berserk.
Go ahead.
The book Way of Kings, the way like you can like transmutate things, and then it's like, oh, you can just turn something into fire. You can turn something into crystals. And so this like mage who just got that power, she's like, but she like has to enter that dream realm, and she like tries to, like she has like an assistant like elf basically sprite that's like, you have to convince that stick to become fire, and she's just like, be fire, and it's just like, I am a stick. And she's like, become fire. She's like, I'm a stick, and she just does it and then she just gives up. But like that's how like to cast magic, they have to enter like a different realm and like convince things to change.
I mean, I could see the parallel for sure though, because when she explains it to the priest, like she's able eventually to like cast this barrier around the church, and the trolls that are in the church are burnt, and the trolls on the outside can't come in. I love, and I think you do too, Cody. I love when like a magic system is, and I'm sure Megan too, but I know Cody's Cody's a real nerd for this kind of stuff. That when a magic system like goes out of its way to like set rules,
that's the most important thing in a magic system for me, is to like, I need to know you can't just do that.
Yeah. So I love that, and I love when they give themselves, when it's not all powerful, when it's not just something that can solve every problem that they're having to deal with in that moment.
And it's not aim the stick and shoot a laser, I guess.
Yeah. What happens is this barrier is keeping all the trolls out, but it can only keep these ethereal beings out, and anything of the physical realm can still penetrate this barrier, which I thought was so awesome, because that's where she's gathering her power from, right? And so the trolls start picking up human weapons and throwing them through, and this giant, nasty, gross-looking ogre with like hairy legs.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, the most disgusting thing.
Dude, like shave your legs, you know?
Yeah. Hey, ogre, why don't you shave your legs?
I mean, they're not just hairy, dude. I mean, he looks like a gorilla, you know?
It looks like an ogre.
Yeah.
That looks like no ogre I've ever seen.
No, he does not look like Shrek. Shrek's smooth.
That doesn't get part, but he's like completely smooth.
He's completely. Yeah. Oh, he has a little hair.
Where?
On his chest.
Does he?
That's weird that you noticed
in
that.
the opening. In the opening when he's taking the sludge shower. When he's taking the sludge shower.
The sludge shower?
The sludge.
Oh, it's a mud bath.
Mud bath. Whatever. He has hair. He's not complete. Okay,
it's
let's
just
continue.
weird that you fixated on his
You're
chest.
aware of
I'm
Shrek's
telling
chest
you,
hair?
an ogre asset. This is definitely no ogre that I've ever seen.
Have you seen an ogre like this?
He's not green, and he's
Skyrim.
He might
not
be
a
green.
tsundere.
He's not a tsundere.
Hairy ogres are pretty common in fantasy.
Oh.
Just in other media. I don't see them that much in manga.
Well, I also played a lot of Warhammer, okay, or painted a lot of Warhammer.
And those were Shrek type ogres, completely smooth.
They were smooth. They were smooth ogres.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think of like a Lord of the Rings ogre, and
You
they're
can't-
pretty smooth too.
We can't smooth ogre this conversation. I don't know. That was bad.
It wasn't bad.
I was trying to do that because I was saying.
No, I know what you were trying. I don't know if you thought that went over.
I loved that.
If you thought you were doing one of those.
Oh, man.
No.
I love that.
it's-
Watch our Uzumaki episode. That was an Uzumaki episode.
Damn, you got really mad.
Oh my
You got
God.
so mad. You're like, before you say.
He called you out though.
No, yeah, it's not that I got mad because you were full of shit. But yeah, so this huge ogre comes through and starts picking up these like giant beams and hurling them at the church, and they can penetrate this barrier. And Shirke realizes that she needs to call upon a stronger being. But in between, she's explaining to the priest because the priest is sort of in awe. He's like, "Is this magic? Is this real?" And at a certain point, he's like, "This is God's will. If like." God sent the troll. God is the master of everything. He sent these trolls here. If I'm supposed to die here, and this is how it's supposed to happen, then I'm willing to die.
He also brought up like, well, why do you get? If we both have faith in this, why does yours cause magic and my faith doesn't affect anything? And
I
she
that speech.
They explain that like what you're. Yeah, you remember it more?
It was basically just like, we have the same faith in different things. So why would it be any different if yours is towards God and mine is towards this? And he was just like, oh shit. Like it kind of hit him. And on Farnese too, like she was like hearing it all unravel. But it was really, the writing again, phenomenal. Beautiful. But I did love that.
I like anytime a story has two people of different like faiths. And then like the anytime, and I'm a sucker for every time they go like, it's not about what you believe in, it's if you believe in it.
Oh yeah. She says
and then
God's name belongs to God. It's not something to be controlled by others. And then Farnese was like, you're right. I was burning people at the fucking stake.
Yeah,
saying in the name of God. I mean, he's just like emoji.
That's kind
emoji.
That's kind of what like did it for me was her seeing herself in that priest and saying like, "Damn, dude!" Like it even flashed back to her in her armor and all her glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. She's like, it'd be inhuman to put yourself into God's will. She's looking like, yeah, that guy's a real asshole.
Yeah, fuck that guy, right?
I loved the moment of like Guts looking up at Shirke, and I drew this because she looked so cute. She had like no mouth. She just had little like black dots as eyes, and he was like, "That girl's really something, huh?" And he's really, I've never seen him really give credit like to anyone in this high regard.
Yeah.
So it's something new. I was like, Guts, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like he's really like, holy shit, like she's the real deal. Like
I've never, well, maybe since the band of the
like,
Hawk.
yeah.
Like we just haven't seen him open himself up to someone like that for so long. And to see him even later on, like put his hand on her shoulder and say like, you did an amazing job.
I know.
She also did a bit of team carrying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's just like, dude, hell yeah, I don't have to do all this shit.
And he's like, you know, everything doesn't fall on you. Like we're a team. I was like, oh my God, gut. Like just getting to see that side of him again, because after the eclipse, you're like, that part of him is dead.
Yeah.
And will never he'll never be able
and
to,
even in
to bring that back.
the chapters that we read before, I'm like, Guts is gone. Like,
oh yeah.
I was like, what's gonna happen? Like he's just gonna get worse and worse. And then we have that panel later where he's just like, oh, I forgot what it means. To have a team again, like comrades. I was like, oh,
I I know I
heart.
say this a lot because it's hard for me to cry, yada yada yada. My dad, really, told me over and over at a very loud volume, not to do it. and so it's very hard for me to do it, and I want to do it, and I want to be emotionally open to crying. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's an awesome thing. But again, I know I say I get close to crying a lot, but I did feel like a swell of emotion just from seeing, like, I know we've been made fun of for our pronunciations, but Judeu or whatever, and from seeing, just the original band and seeing Corcus and seeing those full panel pages of them and Casca.
Like, you were swelling up with emotions at seeing Corcus?
At seeing Corcus, yeah. I told you, I made a 180 on Corcus.
You did.
Or as Megan would say,
360. Xbox.
Xbox 360.
And you moonwalk away.
I didn't realize how much I missed those characters and how much I missed them together. And just seeing them, I was just like, oh, my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, she's explaining to the priest, like, we believe in the same thing. It's the same scripture. And like you said, Cody, too, it's just like, it's not what you believe in, it's how you believe in it, or if you actually believe in it. And she explains it to him and explains that this church that we're standing on top of was like a holy place that belonged to the Spirit. And I'm going to a church in my mind, basically, and a sanctuary in my mind. And she says that she has to just perceive these things because they are concepts.
I would love. I mean, I could just see a Joe Rogan episode where someone is explaining to him Berserk. He's just going, "Yeah, that's so true. That's crazy."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a church in your mind, man.
Yeah, he's like,
totally.
He's smoking a cigar.
Yeah, he's like, no, that's real. That's a real thing.
Or it's like Alex Jones, that meme where he's explaining Neon
explaining Berserk.
Genesis, and he's like, you see, like, oh, you know, there's these robots, and like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, that's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I loved this whole thing. And then she has to channel another more powerful spirit, the spirit of the river and the water that is there.
Because of the, I call it horse frog.
Oh, the horse frog, dude. The Kelpie.
The Kelpie, yeah.
That was another creature that I just like straight, like that is just a D&D character. And that I feel like I've definitely come across in a campaign or two before. But like getting to come across these creatures that can use magic now too.
I like that Serpico almost lost. And because it did feel like, oh, I guess he's just gonna win it. And then like how they're like, no, like he can get like the wind sprites had to save him.
Yeah, I did like it was like kind of like a Pokemon battle. It's like wind versus water. So he's like, I'll figure it out this way. And then the Kelpie's like stronger in the water. So she's like, watch out, it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And she's like telling them this like, and we're getting, exposition. It's a great way to do it too, because we're getting explained because they don't know. So she's explaining it to them, and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. And just Serpico also realizing that like there's more ways than one to use.
Yeah, and him being like, I didn't know you could do that, guys. Like, I really like his attitude towards like everything of like, that's sick.
Yeah, I mean, because he basically turns a move that was used against him against his opponent, and he's like, he literally says like, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, and like the teamwork too between like Guts and him. He's just like, I'll take this one, you take that one, and then Shirka's just like, he can't do this, like he's gonna die, and then Puck's like, he's used to this kind of stuff, and I was like, this is a total like Marvel movie. That was a total Marvel movie line of like the character who's known this character for so long, like he's gonna be fine, and then it cuts and then cinematic music
and then
and
someone
fighting.
goes, okay.
Okay.
Goes, yikes.
No, they go awkward.
Yeah, that's Marvel.
Yeah. Shirka ends up getting sort of like overpowered, or her consciousness. She becomes so one with
a conduit.
A conduit. She becomes so one with this being that it starts to overtake her, and she can't. She creates this basically like this huge flood and can't stop it from happening. It does like wash the trolls away and the Kelpie.
But the village is fucked up.
Yeah.
Which I really like the reaction that they had to that.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of how I've been learning to expect people to react in Berserk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was one villager as all this was happening watching from the church. She's like, my house.
Yeah, I was like, she doesn't even finish my house. She goes, my house.
Yeah. And I was like, that is lowest on the priority list right now.
Yeah, there's like a giant, she's like Shuriki's bonded to a river god trying to fight that guy who like has water powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gus is just like, this is sorcery. I'm like, how many times did
this is
you met a witch? You met two witches.
You were in another realm.
You know a guy who like rides a flying horse.
Yeah. I was like, now you know?
Yeah, you watched all your friends be sacrificed to evil gods.
You've watched that happen multiple times.
Yeah, like what's going on? So
it was amazing though.
Yeah, that happens, and then Serpico gets like kind of fucked up at this point. He gets like drowned pretty much, which was a cool shot of the Kelpie and him fighting.
He ends up getting like bit by trolls.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. He's getting wrecked a little bit.
He gets his shit wrecked.
Yeah. Guts is kind of having a hard time too, because like the ogre keeps like regenerating, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, oh damn, but I like this.
Yeah. And Casca
I'm
and
just
Farnese get
thinking,
washed away.
Like a fire axe probably would have helped you there, wouldn't it? Guts.
A fire dagger.
Yeah.
No, didn't he? They were
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
like
yeah.
give him an axe.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was a fire axe, but yeah, an axe would have been very helpful in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then before that, even Serpico's like, okay, like, I'm going to handle this, like, take Casca or whatever. And I'm just like, Serpico, I swear to God, if you die for
I
these
thought he was gonna
villagers,
die.
if you die for these villagers right now, I will never forgive you. These people?
Because he's such a chill guy. That
I was
I'm
like,
he doesn't get to live in this world.
This isn't
Yeah.
this isn't worth it. You just came like,
And he has this like beautiful inner monologue of
yeah.
basically realizing he's like, oh, I wasn't helping you. I thought I was helping you. I thought I was working towards breaking you free from these things, but I was just commiserating with you. Like I was just like, I don't know, it was. And then he like looks to Guts and he's like, you know, this is the person who's made you this better version of yourself. And he's like, at least I can die like protecting the other half of myself or something along those lines. But it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But Casca and Farnese end up just getting washed
Yeah,
away.
they fucking fall off the building.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool guys.
I wonder where they're gonna stumble into.
Yeah.
What could happen?
What could happen next? But yeah, they get washed away, and then all the villagers are like, thank you so much. All the
Yeah.
little kids are like, sure, Case, you're so cool. Like, maybe I'll be a witch. Oh no,
Yeah.
you're funny, Stacy. Like
Yeah.
everyone's just like so chill and happy.
Yeah.
And I
They were
thought that priest
saved.
was not going to be having any. of
No, but he was dope. They were like, can we put like a shrine or whatever for the spirit here? And he's
Yeah.
like, sure.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like
like, hell yeah.
tolerance is a part of God's creed. And it's like, oh yeah, that is. It doesn't get brought up that much, but yeah.
it. Yeah, I was like, finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
Um,
It's also important too that like to get her out of that trance. I also really loved that.
Oh, yeah.
I think Isidro had to hit her staff rhythmically like 777 times to like call her. The sound would like call her back. I just thought that was cool.
And it was like her her teacher
yeah,
was like kind of
her-
talking her
yeah.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it being this feels like a separate, like the next part of the story is it's because how the villagers were like, thank you. And then the priest is like, I guess you were right. Because normally
Yeah.
they would have been like, fiend, demon. And
Yeah.
then they're like, I guess we'll never go back to that town again.
What is their nickname for her? What did they call her?
Shirky.
No,
Who-
it's Shirke. They have like a little like
I don't know.
Little
I
witch hat.
forgot. They have a little witch hat.
They call her, Witch Hat Atler.
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 I forgot. I'll look it up. But yeah, it's just so cute, and she's just like, getting all this praise, and she's like happy and like embarrassed, and because she's like new at this too. Like she's not like the best of the best, but she's still like badass.
And
I
she's-
love her character.
She's beating herself up a lot too
Yeah.
for like, losing Casca and Farnese, and she's like trying to tap into their, I think it's oud is how you would pronounce that, right?
Yeah, it was a little odd.
Okay. All right. She can't, she's having a hard time. She knows that they're,
Oud boy.
he's an oud
Call
boy.
me Oud boy.
No, like
It's also-
oh boy, like oh boy.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought you were saying
rude
rude
boy.
Oud boy.
Rude boy.
Oud boy.
I thought you were doing like, I'm a oud boy.
Boy,
boy.
can
Yeah.
you get it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they were having an oud fight,
Oh,
like food fight.
yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Throwing their oud around. Hey kids, cut
What-
it out.
Oh, that was another food thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. I get confused because there is, if Cody's going to have to apologize for the book stuff, there is a Doctor Who alien that's called an oud. And so every time I say that, I think I'm just saying it wrong and pronouncing that thing.
Yeah,
instead
one of the
that.
darkest Doctor Who episodes.
Imagine.
Doctor.
Doctor. Do it again.
They get lost and she can feel them and feel that they're not harmed. And that's where Guts has that beautiful moment with her where he's like, it's all right. Like, don't worry about it. Like, if they're unharmed, like we'll find them.
Never heard him be more nice.
Never.
I was like shook. He was like, "Don't like you did a good job." Like Baba, and she's just like, "Thank you."
You
I was-
were Shirk.
I was shook.
She was shirk.
I was
Oh
Shirk.
my god, so good. Such a great moment. Oh, this.
And Serpico is like still so fucked
He's
up.
kind of
but
just like
alive.
I'm just gonna hang out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
I
was,
did my whole thing. It's kind
I kind of carried it. Me and Shirke kind of really
That
carried
was-
the team.
That was a good moment too, because he's just like, go like for me, like
Yeah.
watch her. And at the same time, Guts is just like, I think he saw in his face, like he was like, oh, like if this was someone, like if I was in this position and it was like Casca, like I'd be like, let's fucking let's go right now. And
yeah.
I was like, it was a mixture of him like just wanting to go to get Casca, but also seeing like this person that he fought alongside and like who is a cool person and like a skilled fighter. He was like, I respect this person.
Well, plus
He
their
kinda felt that.
relationship that they've had.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
another moment later too, where because I don't want to say hate each other, but they do have this like
Because he
contentious
knows that
relationship
Farnese
where-
is like all about guts.
yeah, and he still treats him like he is the same black swordsman that he met when they were like hunting him sometimes.
Mhm.
But yeah, you do see him kind of come around to him.
I was like hanging out with Guts wasn't even his idea. It was
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So he's just like, I didn't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to be here.
I didn't like you.
But I bet he's pretty glad now because something else that also happened during his fight too, which was another cool way of him using his ability, was that he basically like it almost looked like kind of cloak and dagger esque how he could throw his cloak or his cape up or whatever, and the wind like carried him.
Yeah.
And he could like fly.
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah.
he just jumped, but he flew.
Yeah.
People like it was only some kind of word for that.
Yeah.
It was like jumping but flying. So
Yeah.
you
He was like jumping but flying.
so
Just flying.
so he flew. Yeah. It was like you just see him like constantly getting new like little perks and stuff for that ability he has. I'm like, yeah, please don't die, Serpico.
Yeah, meanwhile, and just before they set off to go find Casca and Farnese, like, meanwhile, Isidro, this whole battle has been like feeling like shit for not being able to do anything.
Mhm.
And then he has, because the old man saved him and meets him in an alley later and basically like is talking to him. And, you know, Isidro is
Brat.
being a brat for sure. And he basically has this like conversation with him and tells him that, you know, that there are different kinds of dreams and which one is yours.
And you got the dream talk bubble
We got the
effect that everyone
dream.
happens.
Yeah, we got the black background with the
Mhm.
splotches of white, like
Yeah.
classic Berserk dream talk shit.
I would love if anytime someone mentions dreams, they just get that background.
Yeah, it's pretty much happened
Yeah, I
every
mean,
time.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, it does,
Yeah, he goes, what are your dreams? He's like, my dream, I'm gonna be the best, and I'm gonna show you.
He's like, my dream isn't a dream. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that mumbo jumbo. Like mine's an ambition. I have drive.
Yeah, I have drive. That's what
Yeah.
it's called. And then he gives him
The
the
knife.
knife. He goes, this is just carrying dust. And I was like, oh, this
It
was
was
a nice little moment.
Yeah.
And then the whole, you need to be, trusted. You're trusted. You need to be trusted to get entrusted. Or what did I say? Fucking, you've been entrusted because you can't be trusted. And like Guts saw that too in him. And I was just like, oh, this fucking character.
Yeah, it does seem like Guts probably maybe noticed Isidro, or whether it was like during that fight or like as they were going to their next fight, that he wasn't feeling great. So it almost does seem like he asked that of him to like lift him back up kind of again. Like he just
Mhm.
seems like he's turning into like a leader.
Mhm. He's
Yeah.
like checking in on people.
Yeah.
He's like making sure
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, like
The
this
morale's
I
good.
know that this person's safe. I can rely on them to like be.
Yeah.
He's like, I remember being like, there's no way he's gonna be a leader.
Yeah.
But like,
Not
he
at
fell,
all.
He fell into the role pretty smoothly.
He really, really did. So they go off. Serpico stays back. They go off to find them, and wouldn't you know it, Casca and Farnese end up in a dark realm. I mean,
Hell.
They end up in like what is described as like a portion of hell. It's like starts with a Q. It's like
Oh, shit.
Quinilth. It's not important.
Quinelf.
It's a section of the astral world that is full of just like darkness and where these ethereal beings of like energy sort of congregate. And so it's
Mhm.
full. And this is where, again, the art, which we've mentioned over and over, it like blows you away because there's just these creatures and this like horrific scenery and these like these dark, shadowy like figures everywhere. I mean, it belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, I literally wrote, like, I had to stop. I was like, well, Mira, you really did this, huh?
Yeah.
You really did this. Like, amazing.
Was that when Shirky just was like, I think some figure showing up is merging the fantasy and the real world together. Do you know him?
Yeah. She's like, yeah, they're overlapping. Humans can see them now. She describes the humans as only being able to have seen them in dreams previously. And I don't think she says like, "Do you know him?" But as she's saying, she's like, "It's almost as if an event happened." And then Guts is kind of like, "Could it be?"
Yeah.
It's just like this man. His name was Griffith. It's just Griffith, like.
Sounds kind of familiar. His eyes are twitching.
Yeah. She's like, "Did you know? Do you know anything about that?" I was like, "Well, that was everything I know."
Yeah. She also gets like a lot more insight into like what he went through when they get to where they're going, because as they find this like troll cave, outside of it just like looking in like terms of art beautiful, but in terms of like scenery horrifying. I mean, I have a weak spot. I don't know where. I was really trying to like figure out where this comes from, and I think I'm not going to say it on the podcast just because it's like too dark. But like it's like way too dark. But like gore and like people getting ripped apart in Berserk and stuff like that, truly, honestly, doesn't faze me. But when I see those trolls doing what they were doing to those women.
Oh my God. So I was reading it and I was like, okay, here we go. Another orgy. And then I was like, oh, no. That's not what was happening at all.
Yeah. I can't, like, I really learned this about myself is like, I just can't handle it. Like, I can't handle it. And like I said, I think I have some ideas as to where that might come from. But yeah, it was just like, for all the creatures and the violence, like, that was the worst part for me.
Yeah, I was just like, what do they like, why do they do that?
It's like goblins.
Well, yeah, it's like that's what I liked about goblins. So it's like it justifies them doing these things. It's like, oh, that's how they breed. And then they like the trolls are doing it because they're like demons and
it
suffering.
Did look like they were breeding or trying to breed because that woman's stomach exploded and all those like little troll heads like came out of her. And I remember them saying something about like, you know, they're trying to make like they're using like somehow like apostles through the hierarchy of these like creatures, like apostles that mate with humans can create war demons.
Oh, I thought that's what that other guy was
That's
doing.
what he was doing later.
Oh, that's
later.
The
king.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's later.
Yeah. So what a king.
What a king, right?
Wow.
He was.
Stand by that.
Well, he was a king.
In rank only.
Yeah. I mean, what else would I call him?
I don't know, just the way you said it, like go off king.
He did. He went off the rails.
Yeah, he really went off the rails.
Really
and
did.
I did like that thing that I've been seeing everywhere that is like related to Berserk, but I had no idea where it came, and it kind of was just there. That like nose creature thing, and he's just like kind of sitting there, and I was like, "What is this guy?" And then he turns out to not be any like threat, and like Puck and the other elf is
Puck
just
is,
like
smacking him around.
Yeah, smacking him, and they're like on top of him and like chasing them around. And
Yeah, you see him and he like runs in the cave. I'm like, do not follow him into that cave.
Yeah.
That's where Casca and Farnese are.
What? Yeah. I'm like, call it quits.
And Casca's just like unbothered by all of this. She's just like,
yeah, I'm like,
she's not scared. Farnese, there's a panel of Farnese like literally like shaking and like with a knife, and then Casca's just like, duh.
Well, she gets in front of the trolls once they notice them.
Yeah,
because they just walk into the room where all the humans, which is like 40 people.
Oh yeah, and
like,
kids are there.
Yeah. Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Really bad stuff.
Not good.
But we also see like a little bit of what else like Shirke can do, and how like ood is like energy that people exude, and she can manipulate that to some degree, and so she can confuse their ood and stuff, and just like little touches like that I really appreciated. They end up finding Casca and Farnese.
And
before anything happens.
Yeah, Guts goes, sorry, I'm late. I was like, what a fuck.
Because they still had the silver chain link thing. It was a protection amulet or talisman of protection. And then Casca still had her talisman or whatever that was like keeping her brand in check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, like we got that moment again with Farnese being like, why am I so brave right now? It's because I have someone to protect. Like, she's only been
weaker than me. And I was like, you don't have to really keep saying that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, she is,
it's nice to have just a useless, frail.
It's almost like it felt like that.
Yeah.
She's like, I feel like I can be strong because I have to protect this like fucking, you know,
useless person behind me.
Is that, because I remember there was a part, I don't know if it was like one of the other fights where like Guts, like, he kills a bunch and he has a moment where he like smiles, and then Casca kind of just like cowers behind Farnese, and he just goes like,
Damn.
All right. I mean, you just saw like, because I was really like, he's like
I
leading the
know.
team, and then he's like, did you see that? And then she's like, oh.
Yeah, no, our niece is like, oh my god. She gives like Guts like a hug,
Oh.
and then Guts is like, no time for rest. She's like, oh, and he's like, thank you though, and she's like, it's like not a big deal. She's like blushing, and then the elf girl with Shirky is just like, it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, she
Like,
really threw herself.
she
at him
did,
when
and
he
she
got
was
there.
like smiling, and I was like, girl, if you don't get off.
Yeah, back off. But what was really cool is once, obviously, there's more trolls there than there were even in the village. And so, Shirke basically says that the only thing she could do is create a barrier outside of the cave. They're gonna get the women and children out, and Guts is gonna just hold the line, basically.
I mean, he's like kind of ready for it.
And
like,
he's like excited
he
about
says
it.
he's like, oh, a good old massacre. Like
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this just to let loose
He's like,
and
I
not
haven't
care
had
about
a-
anyone.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
fucking
swing my
kill.
sword freely.
Yeah.
He's like, it's been a while since I've had 100-man, well, I guess 100 trolls, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a return of one-liners
Yeah.
started happening.
Mhm.
There was a great one.
If you
I wrote that. Okay,
If
we
you
wrote
wrote
that.
it down?
We know the same one-liner.
Because
But that one I was like,
one-liner.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
did he say?
I think it's later, so we'll get to it
Oh.
later.
Yeah,
but it
but
was like
like-
awesome.
It involves my, my boy,
Yeah,
and like that really just feels like,
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
like the best one-liner.
Yeah.
Because the cheesier, like given like the scale of everything, it really amplifies how cheesy these lines are, and it
Yeah.
really just I love that contrast of like they're fighting for their souls and
Yeah.
the demons from the other guys like have a nice trip.
yeah,
I'm
see
like,
you next fall. And he, like, pulls out a blade.
I'm like, yeah.
And you know that's when the metal music would
Yeah.
kick in. Yeah. And it was awesome seeing him in that state, and he's smiling, and he's like loving it, dude. And he's like
killing
taking
guilt free too, by the way.
Yeah.
No humans.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
I don't have to kill
objectively good.
children, the things that look like children, and then
Yeah.
be blamed for killing children.
And
it's
that
in
child I did kill.
And that child I did kill a while back.
yeah, and all those children I set on fire in the barn that one time.
Yeah.
But that was in self-defense.
Yeah, that was in self-defense, and
But
he
then
didn't really
they did
do
attack
that.
me as in their children form later, and I did
Did kill them
still
still.
kill
I
them.
Yeah.
killed them too.
Yeah. Oh well.
That was a long
But
time ago.
now.
But now, and that's where he has that talk with Isidro too, and that's the parallel, that's the line, because when Guts was first recruited or asked to be on the battlefield, what the band told him, what Griffith first told him to like prove his worth when they did their very first raid was hold the rear. Like that is the most important job, and I believe in you, and I believe that you can do it. And he basically says the same thing to Isidro.
Mhm.
So to me, that was a very like passing the torch kind of moment.
And Isidro was like, yes, he
Mhm.
finally said something to me.
Yeah, and he gives him his little bombs, and he gives him, tells him
Mhm.
just kind of like how to handle it.
Yeah, at a certain point, I'm going to start expecting him to lose an arm or something.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get fucked.
He's going to lose like a
Up.
leg and
Yeah.
like it's a leg cannon.
In Berserk, you got to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Especially in this situation.
Mm.
and Berserk's having a Berserk. Guts is
Yeah,
having
John
a
Berserk
Berserk.
is
Yeah.
he's having a great time.
I like that eventually you do get a point where I guess you could call him Berserk.
You could.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did. They said it. They said it.
Yeah, they pretty much said
Every
it.
time they
Yeah.
say it, I'm like, they said it.
Yeah. This is where again it gets so just fun to read because powerful characters start to come back. They're on their way out. Isidro's handling it. He's not, I wouldn't say easily, but he's doing his job.
He's doing they get back.
Yeah, he's doing his job. They get to a point.
He has a
at the-
cool little scene, a fight scene where he does
Yeah.
like a tuck and roll thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah, he has potential. He's learning.
Yeah.
He's becoming a better fighter. Farnese is Shirke's in her trance again.
Okay, all right. I got something. If you say a joke, I have a response to it. If you can work one in. Do you have one written down?
No.
You don't have any. Okay, make a joke about the little nose creature.
Oh, he's like he didn't even like ask to be in that conversation. He was like super nosy about it.
Sidra, you did there.
Okay, Cody. All right.
I respect it. I respect
All
it.
right.
I respect
I
it.
respect
I respect
the
it.
effort and the shot.
I
that you took.
salute you.
Yeah.
I salute you.
All right.
All right. We did that. But
You could have just waited till it happened organically.
No, because I would have
Okay.
forgotten.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
And you teed him up great. I mean,
Thank you,
It
thank
all,
you.
It all
And you have that written down.
I did
For
not
sure.
have that written.
for sure. But the entrails of the remaining trolls that Guts has wiped out start to form into the Medusa looking god hand.
The
Mhm.
Voltran troll.
Yeah, and she
Voltroll.
Okay.
Voltron.
she calls herself the queen of this domain,
Mhm.
and that this is like
Oh, I was thinking of someone else. Oh, yeah. I was
the
thinking-
uterus of evil or something.
Yeah.
And she calls it that.
And she says that.
She refers to, yeah. This
And then she like asks Guts to like fuck her or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Oh no, she's like, it's like fuck me, but also fuck me up with your sword.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's
Both
like,
work for me.
She's
Both
like,
work.
stick it in
Yeah.
if you even can handle it.
Yeah.
you know?
Which, when she said, like, oh, that's going to be part of her plan. But then, like, no, it defeats her.
Yeah.
At least, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
in that realm or whatever. It does, like, I thought, like, oh, that's going to fulfill it.
Well,
No. And then she's like,
Because she's like,
Yeah.
oh, these goblin entrails are not the best way to. I kind of want to show myself in these
Yeah,
goblin
yeah.
entrails right
Yeah.
now, but I guess this is the best
Yeah.
it's gonna get right now.
And she can conjure out of this ethereal ood or energy within this realm. She can conjure. She's like, I can conjure as many trolls as they are just a manifestation of this energy,
Mhm.
and I can just keep them coming all day.
Mm.
And that's when
Interesting.
someone shows up.
Yeah,
to help
Oh, and
out.
this we got it explained. See that freaking awesome sword.
Oh, that was amazing.
'Cause
Amazing. We figured
remember
out
that
why
happened
he
a
was
while
doing
ago.
it.
He was
Yeah.
just eating the eggs. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is that for?
At
And
the
he-
conviction arc,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
Tower of Conviction.
And
He
he
was
just
like-
was like, I've been collecting the Beheled blade. I was like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this guy rules.
This
That
guy's
was
awesome.
awesome.
But was she just calling him like, what was she saying?
The
She said,
struggler.
Your Majesty?
She did say Her Majesty.
Your
to him.
Majesty a lot. And I
Mm.
was like, what
I
is
think
that?
he was a human. This is what I think, and I love this part where we get to like theorize. I think he was a human for sure at one point because of something that we learn about the armor.
Later.
He was a human for sure. It ate away at his human form. Now he has this new form, and I think when he was a human, he was a king. He was the king.
And now he's still a king.
He's still a king.
He is more of a king now.
I thought at first, oh, he made a deal with an egg, and it granted him. But he wished to be able to defeat the God Hand, and it granted him that form. But now you're like, oh, that armor is like that's a template of armor that is used for
Mhm.
things.
It looks like a beta version of the armor that he's wearing now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was surprised because all the pictures that I've seen, it's looked different. Like the helmets look different. So I was
Mhm.
like, when I saw that, I was like, what?
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I thought like, oh,
It
this-
opened up so many new possibilities.
And now we know that the armor kit will warp to form, which is why his skull
Yes.
has crowns on it, and someone else's maybe has a different form.
And that armor, even before it looked like it did when Guts first wears
Mhm.
it maybe looked different. And then when he put it on, it turned into a skull looking
Mm.
thing.
And we also get, I think this is when we get that one-liner.
Why
which
should
is-
hit him with it?
Because I had it written down. Because he's fighting her, and she's like, "You're never gonna." He's like, "The time is at hand," and then Guts comes out with the
Yes.
cannon, and she's like, "You guys are like, that's such a fun duo that I'm so upset I don't get to see it more often."
Yeah.
because it's just because he was like he teed him up.
Yeah. He like looks at him and he's like, the time is at hand.
And wink, wink.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, bah.
And then he's talks about his sword, the Dragon Slayer, and talks about how it is kind of like imbued with this power because of all the souls and the evil, like the demonic spirits that it's killed. It is like started to like when Shirke looked at it that one time, like there is something
like
about it.
smoke, like
Yeah.
an aura.
And then we find out what that he's like. I didn't want to have to use this. I was planning on using this weapon to take
I didn't
want to
use this today.
It was gonna be a whole dramatic reveal I was gonna do.
Yeah. This was supposed to be for the last chapter. And then he just like pulls it out, and it's just like
Crazy.
has all the faces all over it.
Crazy.
And you realizes that it can just like slice through reality and time.
Mm.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Cody's like,
And
Yeah.
you see like, oh, look at you can see all the faces on it. So it's like, oh, he's been like consuming these eggs for like
So
a while,
many. So
hunting them
many.
down individually to like build up the power to do this thing. And he was just like, yeah, this, yeah, I'll use it now, but I want it. Like, I love that person. Like, he's like, he looks like a monster, but he's just like,
yeah,
I was gonna save this.
And well, that made me kind of bummed because is he never going to be able to use it again? Is he going to have to collect that amount of Behelits again?
Oh, I can't imagine it's a one-off.
Yeah, that'd be
use.
kind of crazy.
Well, then otherwise he was just saving it for the reveal then.
Yeah,
I mean,
which I think he was. I think he was like, dude, I've been doing this for centuries, so that when next time I saw them, I'd be like, oh yeah, and he whips out the egg sword. He's like, look what
Yeah, I don't think it was complete like during the eclipse because he should have used. Did he?
No, I don't think it was because he was still during the conviction arc at the Tower of Conviction. He was still eating Behelits.
Eating the
Yeah,
so
still
it
eating
probably
Yeah, still eating eggs. He was on an egg diet.
Oh shit!
You got to be yoking me right now.
There we go.
And that's why I do it.
Saved you.
I tee people up so they can knock them down.
You're walking on eggshells. Calm down.
And see, this is the volume 1 trifecta at its best. I thought this was so cool, man. And he defeats her. She's done. I mean, she wasn't that all powerful with her. But he defeats
entrails.
that form.
Yeah, that form.
Defeats a shadow.
Yes.
Shadow.
Yes, the hedgehog. Don't get too excited.
Guts and Shadow?
Them together. Write a fanfic.
Oh, I should.
Write a fanfic, yeah.
I'll get right on that.
Yeah. Anybody with art abilities listening or watching right now, why don't you draw Megan a little something?
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you whatever your
Whatever
rate
you
is.
need.
I'll double it.
Oh yeah, and then the skull, like, when we're introduced to the next wave of like people they're fighting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The war demons and the return of Zod, and then Skull Knight's just like, I oppose the 5 angels and I'm gonna do this, and one of the war demons goes, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, the war demons are kind of like stooges. They're like, I don't really know what's going on,
Yeah.
boss. So he's like, shut up, you guys are idiots. And it's so funny. And then we get like Skull Knight like talking to the witch again before they even get there, I think. Or...
Yeah, I think it was before he showed up
in the cavern.
To fight that God Hand member.
Yeah.
You see her, she's like, this was more taxing than I originally had expected. And she's putting like a marking, a talisman on the armor or whatever. And they're calling each other old friend.
Yeah.
And, things like that.
Scully.
Yeah, Scully. Yeah.
Is Link.
That's a good name.
Is Sneaky Link.
Sneak a link.
Also,
Sneaky Link.
they get out, by the way, like, they reappear and catch up with the gang. And then the Skull Knight's like, all right, I'm going to head out. Like he always does. Like, like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Shirky kind of has that, like, she's trying to figure out what happened to Guts. And she's seeing all these images and things.
During the time he's talking to the other Godhead member, she's like feeling what he's feeling. Kind of like Puck in some ways. But she's like, obviously can hear his thoughts, I guess. And like projecting. And she's like, in terror.
She's like, how the hell did you do that? Did you beat all those trolls? And then also, like, what else was in there? You fought something else. And now Guts is like more fucked up than he's like, I think ever been. And not even on a physical level, like his spirit
internal
is fucked. And so he's just like walking to the witch's house, like passing out.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah.
Like for Guts to see him like collapse like that, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so when they get
And then
there,
he just gets back up. He's like, sorry, I just tripped.
yeah, he plays it off like a cool guy. But that's why when they get there and they have that huge fight, I'm like, well, great, dude. This is the most fucked up he's ever been. And now he has to be in another, like in an even crazier fight. But this fight, this was like the peak of it, man.
And because Skull Knight doesn't just leave.
Yeah.
No, he's in it. And then we get another one liner where he's like, guess I owe that guy something, huh?
That's
Guess
two
I owe
I owe
another
him.
one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's just like, anytime he's with Skull Knight, they just both just like really hype up the 90s anti-hero thing.
Yeah.
They're both just like, yeah,
But
nice, good eye. Guts.
I didn't realize that guy was a giant. Like, I don't know why.
Oh yeah, they've mentioned it that he's part of the giant race.
It was crazy just to see that panel of like him, like Nos, and then it's like Guts, Nos, that guy. I was like, oh
Lil
my,
Nas.
Lil Nas.
You called yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
When you
cool.
see like Lil Nas and Scully fight. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But
that whole team, and you find out that like, obviously we know that they're the disciples of the Hawk of Light. They're the new band. And like when So, okay.
That part made
when they
me
get
so
there,
emotional too.
That's what I mean. That's the part that made me emotional. Like when they get there, it's Griffith's new army, these like big bads from all over, the axis of evil. They're there, and they're I forget the guy's name, but the giant guy is like, let me one-on-one go up against this guy. I've heard nothing but good things about this guy.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but
Nothing
great
but good
things
things.
about you. I really want to fight you. Let's see what you're made of. And Guts is like, I wish you would have called me yesterday.
That was
Because-
yeah.
Yeah. And
Go
we
ahead.
find out that they're there, that like
Sorry.
Griffith sent them there to kill the witch and to get her head. And they have war demons and apostles that are just like, that make up their entire army.
Yeah, and Skull Knight's soloing Zod again.
Mm-hmm.
And then Guts is soloing the giant, and they're just and the goons are just like,
We can't find the head, boss.
yeah, they're
She's,
fighting.
where is she?
Yeah, I mean they're just they're just like yelling one-liners at each other, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Do you need a hand? You use that one."
Yeah. And then one of the war demons goes up to the other one and he like pokes him in the eye. And he's
Yeah.
like, does that. yeah.
Meow.
Yeah. Oh, rage.
Wow. Triggered.
Yeah, very triggered. They get in there too, and then obviously Shirkei's like an emotional wreck because there's a fire. The whole tree is on fire,
Oh.
and her mistress is what they call her. They don't say mistress. It's
I think that word has changed its meaning. But I think that's just what
Master.
you
I think she
that's-
says mistress.
Yeah, I think that's what you would call like your female like leader, master. Like there's master and mistress.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so sad. She's just obviously you see her just sitting in the chair like burning.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I wish you didn't have to die like this. Like this is probably the worst way to die. Like,
She's
why
like,
would you?
No, it's fine. Trust me. She's just sitting
fine.
there.
Plus, I'm not even really dead if you think about it.
If
Yeah.
anything, I've gotten more powerful.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
she says like an interesting line too. She goes like, you and me both know like how like humans can extend like their life for too long because she's like pretty old because she's been old for a long time, so she's probably lived a long time. We don't even really know her age, like her real age. I don't think. I think
No,
she's
no.
really old.
She
but
just lives longer than a human's supposed to.
Yeah, so she's like.
Well,
you know,
also
I
she
have to
says
go.
that realm that she's in, that the tree is in, because remember they described the tree, and because the tree was worshipped in the physical realm, in the ethereal realm,
Mhm.
that power that people gave it caused it to extend its life. So because she's lived there in that realm, in that space, her life is also extended as well. So again, just that attention to detail that really makes this world so amazing. But she's like, you got to get him this thing. You got to get Guts this thing. If you don't, he's gonna die. And that's when we see the armor, but it looks like a beta version of a Skull Knight armor. It has like a skull head and it's just all black and it still looks awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they're just skull buddies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude. I mean, I would have kind
Skull
of
Brothers.
Okay.
Skull Brothers. I would have loved if they kept him in that armor. Like, I just think that that's an equally as cool armor.
But the armor also has limitations and what he can do and what it's actually doing to his body, which I thought was freaking awesome because you just see it like in the fight, like bones are breaking and then reassembling and like getting towards it was so awesome.
I like that, like, you know, it is magical, but it wasn't like magically making his bones
Delicious.
heal again.
No, yeah.
Delicious.
Magically delicious.
It was like shooting spikes to put his bones back to where they're supposed to be, and just like he can't feel pain, but it's just like, oh, you wouldn't be able like that. It's not healing him.
Yeah, and just the way that it happened, like the golem shoots up to protect him. He dives through this thing. They load the armor up on him, and then his opponent is like, "Where did you, Black Swordsman? Where are you?" And then he just busts out in this armor. I was like, "This is the sickest thing I've ever read."
And the giant's like, this can't be the same man.
Yeah, but the sword.
But the sword it's the same, but it can't be the same.
Is this because the whole time he's like, this is the fight I was expecting. This
Yeah.
is really disappointing, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, this is very underwhelming. I expected a lot more from you.
Yeah, he's just talking shit on him the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah, and then he busts out in that Berserker armor.
Which was cool. We find
Yeah.
out, what is it, the dwarf? What did she say?
It was
dwarves?
forged by dwarves.
Dwarves,
yeah.
and then like anyone who wears it goes berserk. I was like, she said it.
They lose their ability to feel pain, to feel fear. And then, like you guys said, the bones will reassemble. And so throughout the fight, you just see like his ribs cracking, his legs breaking, his arms breaking, and just the spikes just like piecing him back together.
And then the wolf inside him gives it that final helmet touch.
Yeah, and he has his magical girl transformation.
Uh-huh.
You know, where it's like all the veins are like lighting, like the muscles, and he just like
He spins in the air.
And what does Skull Knight say like during, because he sees him in the armor, right? And he says something to Nas, and then Nas says something.
Someone says not when Lil Nas X sees it, when Nosferatu sees it, he says a super interesting line. He said, that makes me feel nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is definitely something the Skull Knight wore before.
Yeah.
It has.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So this was like Guts is, and the witch said something to the Skull Knight too, which was, just because we give him this armor doesn't mean that these people, history, because he said there's something karmic about the armor. And she says, karma's not a loop, karma's a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And that I know, and I did think about Uzumaki. But she basically says, like, just because they're going down the same path doesn't mean they're going to make the same choices and end up the same as you. So it does seem like Guts is a version of what happened to the Skull Knight.
Yeah, no, they
like
say
if it was like centuries or millennia ago.
Yeah.
But like I'm thinking that like at one point there were 3 god hands and then someone ascended to be the 4th one. And then Skull Knight was trying to stop that, and then he like survived his cycle.
Yes.
And now Berserk is trying to stop the 5th god hand.
Yes.
like Nosferatu says too, like, do you plan on making him walk the same path as you to follow your footsteps from what did I write? Footsteps to hell? Like he says that, and I was like, what does that mean? What is happening?
They're cut from the same cloth.
The suit is also a corrupting force. Guts had to be saved from it by Shirky, who
Shirky.
No, it's Shirky. And she had, she had a lot of experience, like, having to escape from that mindset. And it's like, what force overcame Skull Knight?
And she also says that there was a rumor about the armor's previous owner and how that armor completely devoured their physical form. It completely devoured. So I don't know what the Skull Knight is, but he is maybe just ood, But so we learned a lot of things got answered. And the beast takes over, transforms the armor, and the armor does look way cooler than it did, but it looked pretty cool to begin with. But it transforms, and the beast has kind of taken over. And the talisman or the whatever's engraved on the chest plate of the armor is to bring Guts' consciousness back to the forefront.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like, I mean, Guts is already like semi-fearless. He's like, semi like badass without the armor. And like the only thing holding him back like would be what Shirke says to bring him back would be like, you have Casca, you have all these people like waiting for you, like remember them? Like if he doesn't have that, then he's just Berserk. And it's just like, that's his ultimate, like that's not holding him back anymore. That's the only thing that was really holding him back from being truly Berserk.
And what if Skull Knight lost everything that was holding him back?
Yep.
No,
I think so. Yeah.
it's just a skull of a man.
He's an eggshell of a man, a behelit. He's a shell of a man, shell of who he once was.
I see, Dro, what you did there.
Okay, we're back.
You're right. I should have saved
But
it. I should have saved it for that.
it.
Yeah, because now, I'll do that from now on.
But that's where Shirke goes into the ethereal realm again and sees her mistress again, and she tells her, what she needs to do, and she sees her like new form or whatever. She's like, "See, I told you I wasn't dead.
See,
I said I'd be back and I'd be more strong. I'm stronger.
Yeah, look at me now.
Yeah,
I'm made of like fire.
She's huge.
Yeah, she is huge. Which it's kind of dark that she's made of fire because she got burnt alive. Maybe
She needed to harness what
Or that was her plan. She was like, no, I have to.
Yeah, I have to sit through the fire in order to.
We get to take the forms of whatever element we die in, maybe.
Oh, wow.
It's a theory I'm working on.
Okay.
We'll see if this pays off.
I do not like what you're saying.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so then she's able to snap him out of it. Oh, and also during the fight, the fucking giant turns into a dragon.
Yeah, that was awesome.
A crystal fire dragon.
A crystal fire
Are you
dragon.
kidding
He's like,
me?
I'm going to take, you're going to do that, then I'm going to take my true form.
Amazing.
Amazing. And awesome, like
because he's like,
mind-blowing.
I mean, I can't even control that fire, and I'm a giant dragon.
Yeah.
I'm a dragon.
And yeah, so Zod and the Skull Knight, I think everyone's battle sort of ends because the mistress created that wall of fire once Guts was snapped out of it, and they fled. They ran away. They escaped. And then when Guts takes the helmet off, he's finally
White hair Guts.
got that little bit of white hair.
White hair Guts. Ha ha ha.
And I love that Isidro later on is like, black swordsman, more like kind of white swordsman. Like, this is like the worst joke ever.
Isidro limping into the. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That's where I like all these little one-liners.
Oh my god.
Just really contrasting with like what just happened, where it's like she had to go into his mindscape and like save him, and he's like the white swordsman. You're like,
and at the end of this volume, we get that like spread. I get that panel of like, Shirke and her mistress, and like, it's never gonna be the same. We're never gonna drink tea together again. We're never gonna like laugh again. Like it's it. And she's like, no, I'll live on through you. And then you just get like my sunshine. I was like,
you are my sunshine.
My
are you
sunshine.
kidding me with the little golems? And they're just like,
I know, that was cute.
Freaking like having the best time.
That was cute.
That was probably like her mom.
No, for sure it was. And what is that? How the Skull Knights fight with Zod ended too? Like they both got away.
They kind of just fuck off.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot how that.
I don't even know. I don't remember there really being an ending to their fight. I think every time they're just sort of like, all right,
I'll see you soon.
Next,
my greatest foe.
We
shall cross blades again.
Yeah, now that you have no allies and I have all of mine.
Yeah, henceforth, 'twas 2 fortnights from tonight.
It was foretold within the realms.
Yeah.
My dream.
My dreams of passion, and then Zod's gets
and then Zod flies away.
Yeah, Skull Knight's like that guy.
Doesn't he say? Doesn't he say to like my greatest foe again when he sees Guts in the armor? Doesn't he say something along those lines too?
Maybe.
I forgot. It,
I mean,
really
Zod
stuck out to
loves
me.
Zod loves Guts.
Yeah,
dude.
he does. He's like, this guy's pretty badass.
Yeah.
I like.
He loves him in
fucking
like
with this guy.
the way that you would love a worthy adversary.
Yeah,
like he's Guts for nuts for Guts.
Mm-hmm. Aren't we all?
We all are. And
bust nuts for Guts.
Bust nuts for Guts. Is that what you said?
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, if we were still doing like wacky titles for episodes, that'd be what this is called.
Bust nuts for Guts.
So yeah, the wall of fire allows them to escape. They escape, and then they realize that we kind of cut away from the group for a while, and we realize that Guts has taken months off to heal, and he's still not fully healed.
I like when a story does that. I don't like if they're just like they're injured and like the next day like I think I'll be better.
Yeah.
If they're just like he did nothing for months,
for a long time
on end, he was bedridden.
Yeah.
We're not going to show it to you because it was pretty boring.
Yeah.
Which is like the realism is like, that was crazy.
Dude, and while they're resting, I guess, we cut away from them. And I am, sorry, not sorry, I guess. But I'll say it again. I don't give a fuck about the cushions, dude. Every time we come back to them, I'm like, I forgot
it got more interesting.
It
this
feels
is when
like
it got more interesting and felt more of a part of the world versus just like something that's just like, here
less.
you go.
Yeah, they were like
fucking shit.
They were up to something that made it like relevant. But then it was just like, well, I feel like, and they kind of just get like taken care of.
It's literally was like, I literally felt like, why are you still here?
Because they're like, yes, we're going to invade this. I was like, there's gods and demons and the world is merging. Like, and then we'll steal their resources and we'll have a better kid. What's going on?
Well, I mean, it was interesting to see, what is it, Midland again, Mid-tier. And like what it's become after everything that's happened with like, like the Holy Chain Knights and like all this other shit. Like it's a shit show.
There's corpses everywhere, and that's because the king is a demon king
again.
Which
people have to be told.
Yeah,
it was like that. Oh, that 10-foot tall guy with like the shark mouth.
Yeah, and that shark eyes.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. But we find out that there's like a rebellion going on,
and they're like, we call ourselves a rebellion. We just hide in the cave.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do.
We're not rebelling.
But we do find out that this demon king, can manipulate creatures and turn them into like half beast, half men. Crocodile Man, Elephant Man, you know.
Which were cool.
Which I was so sure that because there's like a group of people that are like, oh, we're here to help, and they just look like traditional. The guy looks like a traditionally heroic person.
Yeah.
So I was so sure he was going to die, or that rebellion was also just gonna be like, we're demons. I got you.
We met that guy before.
Was he at the?
He was like when the plague first started happening. He was the one that like rode off, and he went to the town to go check out the plague, and he saw all the rats, and then the rats, when he left, turned into one of the God Hand member.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that guy. And then I think the bald guy is
It's Varys.
It's like the Varys
again. I think it is him.
No, I don't is his name Varys?
No,
'Cause
it's
that's
not.
the Game of
Varys?
Thrones. That's the Game of Thrones guy. But he's
not
the guy
Varys.
who was the queen's assistant.
Yeah,
Farkas.
Vargas is the deformed guy from the very beginning.
Yeah,
and
not him.
Okay, I said Farkas because because she said a character from Game of Thrones, so I said a character from Skyrim.
Oh, okay.
Farkas.
Farkas. You know what he is, by the way?
What?
He's a werewolf.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You don't give a fark.
And Farkas, like Barkus,
I'm
like
just
he's a
kidding.
dog, like he's a werewolf. I get it. Everything is Berserk. But yeah, so we see them, and honestly, couldn't care less. We see the Demon King, and we see the Baki Raka. Couldn't care less.
Yeah, the Baki Raka. We see also a character coming back. Charlotte.
Oh, honestly, couldn't care less.
Really?
I thought it
About
was
Charlotte.
I thought it was weird how it really...
Guts just fought a crystal dragon. I don't give a fuck about Charlotte ever crocheting.
Once a crystal dragon has entered the fray, the scale of things.
Yeah. Your knitting can fuck off somewhere.
She's knit over 20 images of Griffith.
Yeah, like I get to watch her in a tower crochet Griffith over and over again.
Oh my god.
And yeah, I thought it was weird how they really start like leaning into how romantic he is with her.
Yeah.
And how heroic he is for saving her from that.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want any of this.
My little bit of confusion was I thought that this was all part of Griffith's master plan, that Griffith was sending in these beasts to take over Midland, and then he was going to pose as the hero. He was going to come in and save the day. But it turns out, as it goes on, that I guess the Demon King is a part of the same realm that all of these other creatures are from, but for some reason has decided to rebel against the Hawk of Light. Has decided
another Griffith hater.
Yeah,
We'd love to see it.
Which does not result in doing heroic things.
No.
Results in him is like, I'm going to make a bunch of demon children.
Yeah, that was dark too.
That was super
One of the darkest things you can see where they're just like, just a bunch of like women held up and like, oh yeah, once they're pregnant, then we drop them into the vat.
Oh yeah, that was.
And then there's, we've been doing, and then they all just die.
Yeah, that was rough.
He turns into like a giant lightning storm at the end, right?
Yeah.
He turns into some fog.
Yeah, he's like, he loves fog, this guy.
He loves clouds.
Yeah, he loves clouds, he loves fogs, he loves like, animorphs apparently.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like this part was just kind of like after everything.
It felt like the an epilogue scene of like, and here's this being closed off here.
Daka. I hardly knew.
What was the first word you said?
Daka.
Daka.
Like the Dakas?
Oh. And that, now you can do that. Now you can do that.
Yeah, the Dakas. But yeah, honestly, of course it was as interesting as like seeing the party and like whatever. But again, like this is when I was like blown away once again by the art. Like
yeah, for
the
sure.
fighting and like the Dakas versus the Hawks, pretty much like
Donka.
Badonkas. The Badonkas. But it was awesome.
Yeah, we get to see another one of Griffith's henchmen.
Yeah, his like number one fan.
Yeah, transformed into like one of the coolest. Like, I don't know what you would even call that.
Chrome
It looks like it looked like Dialga, like the Pokemon. Like one of the,
did.
But yeah, it was
it
like
totally
crazy.
did. Yeah, that was crazy. And like his spikes, like were.
Yeah, the armor pattern was similar to Guts' armor, like where it's very like triangular.
Yes,
and he gets to just become a shining centaur.
It was awesome.
And I feel are the forms they get starting? Are they just gonna if you become like one of my apostles, then I'll give you like this nice looking form, and then the people who like signed up are like, well, why do I turn into like a gorilla?
Yeah, I want to turn into a shiny centaur alien.
Yeah, why do I get a
creature.
gorilla mech suit that I operate?
Yeah.
It's like Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal.
Full Metal. Full Metal.
Gorillaist.
Oh.
All right.
I
At
had-
least you finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I
there's
asked.
Nothing there, actually.
But this, and this fight, was, more interesting, and somebody, I forget who exactly, one of the rebellion members or one of somebody tells the Baki Raka guys, like, just by the way, like the king you worship, he ain't human, and they're like, you mean the guy, like you said,
Yeah.
you mean the guy with shark teeth, and then they start piecing it together.
Yeah, they're seeing like the horrific breeding of the
Mhm.
Daka, and they're like, wait a minute.
He
If
said he
this
was.
is this, then
What?
he is actually the king of demons?
But a lot of
See.
people eat people.
Yeah, and like that monstrous flesh pit he has in his throne room. That's
Yeah.
just.
That's just for I thought it was just like a quirky.
He said he was just kidding.
Yeah, he said he was joking.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Like, what's up?
Yeah,
why are
yeah,
you?
and then they go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah. Why are you like breeding like demon children? Like I was just a joke.
It's just a hobby. It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
Charlotte crochets, I create demon babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of the population has been killed.
And back to Charlotte, too, by the way, which, again, couldn't care less. She's knitting things of Griffith. I do love seeing her handmaid or whoever the fuck she is.
Yeah, she's so sweet. She doesn't deserve any of this shit.
Yeah, she's very sweet and doesn't deserve it. But, because he comes in there, the king comes in there to mate with her, as he calls it.
Yeah, pretty
and
crazy.
to preserve the lineage or whatever, or to, basically preserve the royal bloodline and become proper ruler of Midland or whatever.
Mhm.
And then he sees all the Griffith the
Paraphernalia.
crochets, and says like, I didn't know you were Griffith's lover. And I was like, well, she kind
Sure.
of wasn't. I mean, I guess she
No.
kind of was.
That's.
but-
I mean, she loves
That's
him.
a way you could put it.
Yeah, I
she
guess.
like is obsessed with
No,
him.
she obviously is
yeah.
so obsessed with him.
Like Jesus, and then we just get that just knitting, and then we see in the moonlight who it fucking is. Every time this man shows up, it like sends chills down my spine.
well, now it does, yeah, for sure.
Every time, I'm just like,
Yeah.
you're here again.
Ever since the eclipse, every time I see him, I'm like,
Yeah, literally heebie-jeebies.
yeah. Yeah, and then she runs back and tells her, like, whoever that woman is, Griffith came, because she like holds the
Yeah.
crochet thing up and then lowers it in its hand, and she's like, is it real? Is it a dream? He's warm. It's real.
And he's like, I'm here. I'm back. I'm back for you.
Which again,
Like what?
yeah. I mean,
Like
why
why?
do you even need to do that?
Yeah, like,
why
why?
do you even need to bother with like human politics at this point?
I
That's
don't-
the interesting part where he talked about all of his dreams. Is like he has the power to do so much more now.
But
Yeah.
And now his dream is like kind of minor in the scale of things he could do.
yeah, it's very interesting. There has to be a reason.
There
I mean,
has
we're
to
gonna
be.
find a reason why, but
He's a
maybe it's just
fucking
for show.
asshole.
Like, oh, now that I'm with the princess again, now I can be a proper
Oh, now
king.
now royalty will accept me.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
you
know.
can just
Yeah.
you can just say you're king now,
But it's
and
the-
that's
It's the part that he's playing too.
But he doesn't need to.
He
That's-
doesn't need to, but he
that's-
is for some reason.
That's
which
what I mean.
hence the frustration.
Yeah.
Like I get, it's like like before he became a god, like I need a. If I don't marry
Sure,
a princess,
sure.
I can't be a prince. But it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you can alter reality,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you could just take over kingdoms, which is how kings happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why, like, you could just kill a king and say, "I'm king now,"
I don't. Yeah. It's
and he's like,
very
"I got
weird.
to do some political
We'll
maneuvering." No,
see.
you don't.
Yeah,
We'll see.
he's got a plan, dude. And just to really kind of put a bow on this part, because again, like my heart really wasn't in this part, but they have that battle, and then he shows up, and she's like, Griffith told us he'd take care of us if we stay under the bed. I don't know why, but he's back, and she's like, sure, he's back.
Good night.
And then the roof crumbles, and Zod just like lifts their bed up. And so it's just this panel of Zod flying, holding the bed, and Griffith on Zod. And it's so funny. And then the battle that's happening
Carry the bed.
with his like one of his captains that's transformed, and he's fighting against the king's army. Like they flee. Like Griffith's army flees, and he says to himself, like, they had the manpower to like attack us and to like break through our barriers. Like, why are they fleeing? What is Griffith up to? So we really don't know why they fleed, what he's up to, why he gives a shit about Charlotte, what is going on about all with all of this.
He needs her name. to become king. No one will accept him as king. I mean, you know, he has like a dragon man he's like flying off on, but no one will take his leadership if they're not. Like,
I have a theory.
You got a theory?
Well, like, I mean, obviously it could have been anyone, but for some reason he wants it to be Charlotte. For like the same thing that he was doing with the Dakas. Baby.
Like he's trying to create a little baby.
Yes.
and he's like, I already know Charlotte. I don't want to have to like meet. So I don't want to have to like meet someone new and go through like the stage.
Yeah, she's like obsessed with me.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it kind of works out.
I mean, I just like broke into her room and it was just like for it.
And speaking of babies, dude, we haven't heard from Guts Jr. in a long time either. Like, you know, in the first 3 volumes we were reading, he was still like very part of Griffith's consciousness, or at least conscience.
But he hasn't been around Casca and Guts in a while either.
Good point. Good point.
So I'm hoping Guts Jr. is not just dead.
I don't think he can't be, dude.
No.
But after all that, we cut back where we kind of end is we cut back to the gang, and basically the note it all ends on is everybody's like healing up. Everybody's, you know, feeling better. Guts is taking the armor off, and, you know, Serpico has kind of like rearranged his equipment so it's like easier for him to maneuver, and he's making dinner, and it's just like this very sweet sort of like moment. And Farnese asks Shirke to teach her magic, which Shirke actually says like, yeah, sure. She's like, most adults can't because they have a hard time like abandoning the reality that they've known their whole life. But you've seen some crazy shit, so you'll probably be fine. I could teach you the fundamentals at least, and I think that's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much it. Another awesome 3 volume.
I know. I'm getting so sad that we're getting closer.
That
to
is
the end.
why I'm looking at the chapter like there's not. We're almost done.
We're kind of almost done.
Be done. Oh my god.
It's yeah. This is the interesting part. People would have to wait a year for like a chapter to continue.
We're not almost. We are halfway through this part of this arc. We're halfway through the whole Millennium Falcon arc. And then I think there's just one more arc after that.
That's wild.
But really quick, I want to get some quickly before this hits 2 hours again. We still have a little time. Final thoughts on, you know, these 3 volumes and this first half and the final part of the Holy Evil War arc. But what I did want to pull up really quickly is we got a message from a Patreon member, Walter Sorto. And this is just an interesting theory that I wanted to mention because we forgot to mention that at some point during the fight, the Behelit, Betchy, specifically, started acting up a little bit in Guts's bag. It was kind of cute, dude. It started to like kind of yawn. It looked like it was yawning and waking up. And it seemed for a moment like Guts was going to use it or that it was going to awaken for him, because when he was fighting the Medusa looking God Hand, she said, why don't you make a sacrifice? Like, why don't you do what your friend did, you know, basically. And she was kind of like egging him on. Yeah.
All right.
I
see, Drew, what you did there.
You should have saved it, dude.
I should have saved it. I mean, Megan loves it now. Yeah,
I do. I loved it.
At this point, she owns it.
Yeah.
She's got the copyright. Times. She's got the, but Walter, sort of shout out a Patreon member.
Walter,
love you even more for that. He says he had a question. What do y'all think about Guts and the theory of him still being instrumental to the God Hand even after Griffith's rebirth into Femto? Maybe the Behelit he holds is destined for someone, and I'm assuming someone else. Hence, Guts' survival throughout the story so far.
So what that theory is saying is Guts being in possession of that egg is like granting him a sort of causality loophole.
Yeah.
And like that's why he's surviving when he should die.
Which I don't 100% agree with, because someone else had said at a certain point that the Behelits, because of causality, the Behelits will find a way. Like we saw Griffiths literally fall down like a manhole or fall down, you know, into the sewer, and then just water carried it to him later, which it was a really roundabout, way of coming back to him. But like they'll find a way back to who they're supposed to be.
Which could only mean that, because the way I would assume it'd be like is, so Griffith can do it again. Or Guts is going to end up using it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, if Guts doesn't,
because now he has a group of people that he can sacrifice. He wasn't able to do that before.
He's close to people again. Yeah, fuck, dude.
If it was causality, what caused them to find and meet him, and like why he did make a pretty big shift in like trusting them.
Why else would that have happened
God.
if that didn't need
Even the
to...
Skull Knight got friendlier with him.
I can't.
You actually might really be onto something. I think this holds a lot of weight, this theory. Because, I do think that he is able to survive because of what Shirke and her mistress have kind of said, that it is because of the blade has, these not abilities, but these properties, or it's gained this sort of power. Obviously because of the armor, because he walks both worlds, that he's tapped into the ethereal and the physical, so it is allowing him to do inhuman things. I don't necessarily believe it has anything to do with the Behelit, which again sort of reinforces your theory a little bit, which would mean that it would be for him to use. And it does belong to him.
Because if it didn't, it should have left, unless like this is all to like some enemy, like all the enemies he has have every opportunity to like just come at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming this person thinks that because that like Guts is like sort of a carrier pigeon for this Behelit, that he's taking it, he's surviving because he's just a vehicle taking it where it needs to go. But it would fall out. It
would lose him.
Where's he going? Yeah. The Elf Kingdom.
Yes, we forgot to mention that too. Yeah, they're talking about visiting the Elf Kingdom. Yeah.
Because that's where it's like, oh, we'll be safe there. That's what this whole they're just like they just made a stop at that village and they're like, oh look, there's a witch. Oh, if you help me with this, and now they're like back to like on that road trip they're doing.
Yeah.
So there's a group of friends. They're going to a mystical location.
Some shit's gonna go down.
Oh gosh.
I did want to read it though, because I did think it was a very interesting theory, and my guts reaction to it was that it could be a possibility, but then just especially talking through everything, a causality.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. It could have been, it sounded good at first, but then going through all of this, it made me realize that it's probably not the case. But either way, still a great theory.
At the end.
I love to hear your theories. We love to hear your theories.
I mean, it can't be the Skull Knight who needs it, because he would have had it.
He's got 20.
He would have taken it from him.
He's got 1 million.
At the end, Guts is going to make a wish that none of this ever happened. He's going to wake up in a bed. He's like, oh.
And he's going to be like, I'm late for work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alarm clock. And then, the offspring starts playing.
Really quick, as quickly as we can, but take your time, say what you want to say, how, because this is the end of the Holy Evil War sub-arc within the Millennium Falcon arc. How are you guys feeling about this?
I think the Millennium Falcon arc is my favorite.
I second that.
I don't know. I mean, the Conviction arc was just so, the Eclipse, what is it? Conviction?
It was the Golden Age.
Golden Age.
Black Swordsman, Golden Age, Conviction, Millennium
Yeah,
Falcon.
Golden Age.
Conviction is like probably my least favorite, maybe, but it's still great.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so cinematic, like seeing everything unfold. I don't know, it's like the best one. But I did really enjoy seeing like that side of Guts that we've been missing for so long, and like seeing the team dynamic and how it's gonna get better and better, and like just like so many more possibilities than I've seen in any of the other arcs or like volumes that I've gone through so far, and that like excites me to keep reading. And I'm sad that it's going to end, and I have no idea where it's going, and it's like one of the best stories because it just keeps getting better and better. Yeah. There's no stopping. Like there's no lull. There's no anything. It's just all of it's so complete, and we haven't even gotten the full scope necessarily yet, and we're getting more and more information and little hints and like exposition. It's just it's just amazing. I'm very happy.
Me too. Cody?
I already.
Oh, yours was short and sweet? I'll keep mine short.
I think it's the best arc.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. I'll do an in-between of Cody and Megan, an in-between, a happy compromise, and I'll just say that I agree with you, and I think it's probably my favorite arc so far. And honestly, like, I agree with you, Megan, completely about what you said. And the interesting thing is, as much as I love, and I really do love seeing this side of Guts again, it was only after hearing whatever the fuck you said that made me really nervous about that. Like, really nervous about
Because things
that.
have been looking up a lot.
And I didn't really notice it until you said it. But yeah, I loved. Obviously, I said it in the first part of this, but I love the magic systems. I love that we're just getting more into the magic of the world. I love just the power ups. The talisman, the armor, the answers, the questions, the answers, then and the new questions, and just we're getting to spend more time with characters. We're seeing a dynamic really solidify and a family grow. And there's still so much that is to come. And I'm absolutely in love with this Millennium Falcon arc. I think it is incredible.
Now, let me ask you guys this.
Fire. Shoot.
Why is it called
Go.
the Millennium Falcon arc?
Someone said in a comment, and I should have vetted this. I should have looked into this. Someone said, because this seems too on the nose, that Mira was a huge Star Wars fan. And that this is like an homage to it.
Because I was like, oh, that was just a term people used back in the day?
But I just don't. I think that's a little too on the nose. I mean, I obviously wouldn't blame him if it was. I think it would be cool if it was that. But I don't think it is. But what else could it really be? Because Griffith is a hawk, a falcon, a bird.
Pigeon bitch.
He's a pigeon bitch.
So, and then Millennium, how long has Skull Knight been around? How long has the Millennium Pigeon Bitch, and it's Griffith.
Millennium Pigeon Bitch arc.
The Millennium, we're part 1 of the Millennium Pigeon Bitch arc.
Because Falcon maybe Serpico could be considered a Falcon?
Maybe.
No, but it's guts.
He can fly his wings.
Yeah,
All feathers.
Feathers.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Let us know if you know the answer. Let us know in the comments down below. Let us know everything in the comments down below. Let us know your theories. Let us know.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah, no spoilers,
don't let
please.
us know if you know things past this.
Yeah,
Please.
and
Do
if it is
stuff like tell
spoilers,
us
just put spoilers because I know
details that we.
y'all like to talk in the comments about
Which is
stuff.
cool, but
Yeah,
just tag it.
Yeah, just
Spoilers.
let us know.
And not even just for us, for other people too.
Yeah.
But let us know your theories. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know how you feel. Let us know which arc is your favorite. Just let us know everything in the comments down below. Other than that, that is going to do it for another wonderful Berserk episode, another wonderful Berserk discussion. The only thing we have to do before our outro, that's always the same and never changes, is thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing strugglers, our Patreon members. Thank every single one of you. You guys are
causalating us to have a good time.
Yeah, you are.
You guys, I'm put in a trance when I see you guys.
Yes. Mike, is it my turn or are you going?
Yeah, it's your
again?
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
I should have
just
said
for-
anything.
yeah.
I should have said
Yeah,
anything.
you guys.
You guys, what I love about
Yeah.
you guys,
Go
Yeah.
off.
is I would crochet a bunch of you guys.
Damn.
I would just nothing. I would just the king who was there to try to have sex with me. He would just he would come into my room and it'd be full of just crochets of all you guys.
Yeah.
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 Thank you guys for your support. It really does mean the world to us. I mean, I say it in every episode, but it truly blows us away. We talk about it. We get so excited by your support. It's so incredible and amazing and at times unbelievable. But you guys truly are what allows us, because of you, to spend more time and to do more episodes. I mean, as corny and cheesy as it is to say, it's the truth. And so we love you for your support. And we love you no matter how you choose to support as well. So, guys, take it away. How else could they show their support?
Well, hypothetically, if they're like, but we can't afford to give Patreon. Well, how I can't possibly support you guys. You're wrong.
You're wrong. You could be part of the algorithm gang.
Algorithm gang. What does that entail,
And
Megs?
the algorithm gang, you can comment a period, algorithm, or anything you want. And it's pretty much like a free tip for us. Isn't that right, Cody?
That's right, because even a thumbs up shows up in the algorithm and it literally gives us money from the
yeah.
YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah.
So
Become a part of the algo gang today.
back to me. Yeah, and check us out on Audible too, and Amazon.
We'll stick with that.
And Amazon Music and all that, and leave us a review on iTunes. Even if you don't listen on iTunes.
Oh, did you mention Audible?
Oh yeah.
I mentioned it again too, and
yeah, we've gotten so many amazing reviews. Like it's helped us out a lot. So if you could just keep doing that, like amazing. Thank you guys so much.
And if you give us any reviews on Audible or Amazon Music, we'll be like the only manga podcast with reviews on it.
And that will really help us out a lot. And also tomorrow, if you're watching this on Saturday, the Halloween live event, extravaganza, party, bash, monster mash.
You'll be having so much fun. You'll be spooked.
You'll be spooked, but in a good way. And also, the last thing I'll say is if you do want to become a Patreon member, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/volume1pod. You get early access 2 days usually in advance to all of our episodes.
What else do they get?
They also, Cody, get access to our exclusive Patreon bonus podcast, Volume 1 Extra, where we talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We do talk about our lives. We also talk about anime. We sometimes react to things. We take quizzes. It's fun. It's a fun time.
We get extra.
Sometimes movie reviews.
Sometimes movie reviews. Sometimes more in-depth book discussions. Sometimes it's just a good hang, really, and you don't want to miss out on that.
We did zodiac signs.
Zodiac signs. We did a monster fudger list.
A monster fudger list.
Yeah.
It's a blast. And so if you want to join, again, patreon.com/volume1pod. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here. Fuck you. On our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today is
a see you later.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. You're, yes.
100%. Yes.
Yay.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, we'll
see you later.
I'll see you later.
Hasta la vista, baby.